Are you an agent or an advisor that's looking for the best fact finder, something that helps you clearly understand how your client feels about money, as well as where their money's at, and helps us to identify what we need to do to help get them through retirement? I have got the fact finder for you. My name is Wendy Swanson. I'm with Senior Market Sales. I am a annuity consultant. I've been in the business for 30 years, and I've worked with tens of thousands of agents and advisors across the nation. So this is a fact finder that, gosh, it's been probably 15 years since it was sent over. It is a fillable fact finder, but what makes this fact finder so special? I'm going to show you a couple things. Now, the first pages, this isn't, everything that you would expect in a fact finder. I actually would recommend that you start in section C2. I'm a firm believer that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so, with that, let's get to their priority issues or concerns that we would like to address. Now, I'm not telling you you have to fill in every single box or read every single question. You're going to want to use this in ways that make sense. Maybe it does make sense to go through every last question, but maybe you want to pop around, right? Some of the things here, I do not like having my values go down due to fluctuations in the stock market. If I'm sitting with a client, I'm going to say that and say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, there's no right or wrong answer to anything I'm about to ask you. I'm just trying to get to understand how you feel about money. Working with many clients, I find that there's a huge variance of how people feel about money, what they need that money to do for them, the lifestyle that they want to live in retirement. So I just want to get to know you a little bit better so I can do the best job possible. So again, no right or wrong answers as I ask these questions. So let me step out of character here. So I'm going to pick and choose here. What's important. Maybe I'm doing all the questions. Maybe I'm doing, a handful of these questions. I'm also going to skip forward and I'm going to look at things here. Maybe this is more of a preferred way to go about that. Again, stepping into character, I could say, I'm going to ask you some questions and we're going to look at this kind of in a temperature way. One is, gosh, Wendy, I could care less about that. 10 being, that's extremely important to me. So, Mr. or Mrs. Jones, if I were to ask you, protecting my principal from losses, is that one of those one things like, no big deal? 10th thing being, this is absolutely urgent in my world, right? So again, we have a mix and match of questions that I can get to understand what is truly important to that client. It's so important to do proper fact finding. You got to pop that hood, right? We got to figure out what's going on. Is there a problem? And ultimately, can we resolve that problem? So once I understand a little bit more about how they feel about money, I'm going to dive into their income sources. Now, we know to ask for Social Security and pensions. I like this one because it brings out some of the other income sources that many times I don't see on other fact finders. And this is going to allow me then to do a summary of what is going to be coming in, but also have that conversation of what's going to be going out. We have to identify those cash flows of in and out as best as we can. That being said, do they know how much they're spending each month? 9 times out of 10, I'm here to tell you they probably don't. So in your area, have a good understanding of at or around what is typical. Here in Omaha, I would tell you that's 4,000, 5,000, $6,000, right? If I want to plan with somebody, I'm going to say, hey, let's take it down the middle. If you don't mind, let's start with 5,000, unless you think we should make it different, right? Because Mr. or Mrs. Jones, everybody's different, and this is Burger King. You get to have it your way, right? I've shared with people, and I've done these sort of plans where we've had to build in for 10,000 of income, 20,000 of income. This is your life, this is your lifestyle, and this is your retirement. So, what do we need to plan towards is our goal. So, once I have this income identified, I'm going to back my bus up again here. I'm going to identify the resources, what we have earmarked specifically to make that income happen. This is where I'm looking for the 401ks, the 403bs, the 457s, the checking, the savings, the mutual funds. Hey, even that tin can in the backyard, if there's a substantial amount of money, let's make sure that we're recognizing that. So now we have a collection of information. I know how they feel about money, super important. I know how the cash flows are running and the sort of income we need to produce. And I know the available assets that are there to produce that income. I also understand more about outside of the income, other concerns, chronic illness, legacy planning, all the extras. I've gotten under the hood to understand that. And so with that, then we can start doing some real awesome planning for that client to give them the retirement that they've always envisioned. So if you're looking for a great fact finder like this or looking for something even simpler, I can help you out. My name is Wendy Swanson with Senior Market Sales. Direct dial is 402-343-3669. Thanks so much for the time. Bye-bye.